2026 World Cup draw will take place at the Kennedy Center. Trump touting the news alongside FIFA's president during a Q&A with reporters. Trump also spoke about the deployment of the National Guard in Washington, D.C. and his hopes to expand troops to other cities. Trump saying if he gets his way, Chicago will be next. Take a listen.
We're going to make our country very safe. We're going to make our cities very, very safe. Chicago's a mess. You have an incompetent mayor, grossly incompetent. And we'll straighten that one out probably next. That'll be our next one after this.
He says Chicago is up next. So for more, let's bring in ABC News White House correspondent Karen Travers. So Karen, Trump is clearly setting the stage here for some sort of multi-city response when it comes to the National Guard. Any sense of when this could actually happen?
No sense of when this could happen, Morgan, but the president has also indicated Memphis, Tennessee is a possible city that they would look to replicate the actions here in Washington, D.C. The president talked about that yesterday in a radio interview. He said it again last night that there would be other cities where they would try to do this surge of federal resources to tackle crime. And then the president today mentioning Chicago, talking about the city officials there failing, and that is why they need to go in there. It's not clear exactly what this would look like and how this could be in other cities, what that pushback would be from local officials as well as state officials, like, say, the governor of Illinois, for example. D.C., of course, is a unique case because you do have a city here that is not a state. You have the mayor, but there is that ability of the federal government to step in and have that oversight if they choose to. And that's what the president is doing with this emergency order. But also the important thing is that order is only lasting 30 days. And a big question for the White House here in D.C. is what's going to happen after that? Are they looking to extend it? And they haven't yet said what the president's plans are.
Yeah, all eyes on that.
A couple weeks ago, President Donald Trump sent in a National Guard to help and to assist law enforcement in Washington, D.C. to restore law and order. It was a mixed reaction among people on the right and people on the left. Many people on the right argue that this is the right thing to do. The government have to restore law and order, especially because a lot of local people in Washington, D.C. don't feel safe. There's a lot of kidnapping, there's a lot of robberies, and there's a lot of criminality that's been going on. And the government has to step in to restore law and order. And people on the left argue that this will mostly target a lot of minorities community. That's where most of the crime is happening. And also on top of that, the president is kind of overstepping his boundaries because he should allow the local government to be able to take care of this issue. Now, President Donald Trump announced that he is going to do the same thing to the city of Chicago. You know, for the past maybe decades, the city of Chicago has been among the top 3, even top 5 cities in the United States with the high rate of murder, with the high rate of robberies, with the high rate of gun violence, and just a lot of criminal activities. Yes, Chicago is a much bigger city than Washington, D.C., and Washington, D.C. is actually a district compared to Chicago, which is a city, and it has a state. And the state and the federal government, it has laws that separate them from how much the federal government can intervene inside the state affair. But when you look at the criminal activity that's been going on in Chicago, and you look at the criminals who are doing this, mostly a bunch of young men. Let's just be honest, a bunch of young black men most of the time. Yes, you have probably Hispanic community also that was committing crime. And most of these young black men, they're at the age of 14, 15, 16, 17, or teenagers. And when I did my little research on Chicago, I realized that there is a certain gang group that also, you know, they are fighting each other. They're basically beefing with each other. You have the Black Disciple, and then you have the Gangster Disciple. Yes, you have also the Vice Lord, you have the Lion King, but the Black Disciple and the Gangster Disciple, those are the two gang that don't like each other. And most of these teenagers, they're either affiliated or they're a member of those groups. And you look at what they're doing, they have guns, they're in the streets. They should be at school learning about what they should do with their life and things like that. But many of them are in the streets because either they were affiliated, they were influenced, or they had no choice due to the environment that they live in. And we see a lot of teenagers also filming themselves about the crime that they're committing. Most of them are talking to their op. Most of them are basically asking their op to slide, and they're showing guns and the cameras, and they don't understand that the feds and the state police, they're also watching. And with all this going on, you see that a lot of these teenagers, they're basically being influenced by the music that most of these local rappers or even Chicago rappers are pushing. Because when you look at most of these Chicago rappers, they're also perpetrating these type of violence through their music. You have rappers such as Chief Keef. You have rappers such as Lil Durk, who is currently now in prison due to he's fighting a case for murder for hire that he allegedly was involved in. You have Chicago rappers such as Jir Herbal. You have King Von. You have FBG Duck. You have multiple other rappers that were perpetrating these crimes, that was perpetrating these violent activity by, rapping about it in their music, talking about their op, talking about they were smoking on their op and things like that, which it just continue perpetrating the violence in Chicago. And a lot of the youth look up to them. A lot of them youth, they listen to their music, and they're basically imitating what they're rapping about. And this is probably one of the case where a lot of the youth are also getting involved in these type of crime. And when you look at what's happening in Chicago, it's kind of sad. But the fact that President Donald Trump announced that Chicago is the next city that will be dealing with the National Guard to come in to be able to restore law and order, many of the lawmakers in Illinois most likely are against this, because they also argue that the president is probably overstepping his boundary. Most of them will probably propose for the president to provide, or the federal government to provide, more funding for the state of Illinois, for the city of Chicago, to be able to assist a lot of the police, because most of the police are basically underfunded. The city of Chicago is a big city. It's a huge city with millions of people. And with the amount of policemen and women that they have, it's not enough to be able to even fight the crime. So by them providing more funds from the federal government, by the federal government providing more funds for them, they'll be able to hire more police, train them better. They'll probably be able to also fund a lot of the organizations such as Boys and Girl Club, YMCA, to be able to help those youth who are basically just in the street, gang banging. They have guns, they have the Pushaisky mask, and they're selling drugs, to be able to do certain activities that will basically put their life in the right track. And I think it will be a little bit difficult for President Donald Trump to be able to accomplish it in a city like Chicago, because there's other laws in place that prevent the federal government intervening too much into the state government affair. But when you take a step back and you look at this, you realize that the federal government, or President Donald Trump, is taking this action because in 2026, the United States, Mexico, and Canada will be hosting the FIFA World Cup. And the FIFA World Cup is a huge event. This is a good opportunity to be able to help out the economy. It'll be able to also stimulate the economy. It'll be able to also provide a lot of profit and money towards a lot of local businesses throughout the United States, even in Canada and Mexico. And in 2028, Los Angeles will be hosting the Olympic. And this is a huge event. So this is a great opportunity for President Donald Trump to be able to clean out the cities, especially all these democratically run cities, to clean it out from all this crime and to take control of all these cities, to be able to make sure when these event comes, or when these event happen, the city is safe. When tourism come, it will be able to be safe, where you won't see a lot of criminal activities such as robbery, such as gun violence, such as murder happening while the event is going on. Because when you look at events such as the FIFA World Cup and the Olympic, it's such a huge event that it can stimulate and it can even boost the economy, because right now the US economy is not really doing that well. It will be able to boost the economy, especially for many industries. With the events such as the Olympic, you have people all over the world come to the US to be able to support their fan, to be able to support their family members, to be able just to support the Olympic, to be able to support even FIFA World Cup. When you have people who are like really famous in the world of soccer, for example, you have people like Leonardo Messi, you have people like Cristiano Ronaldo, who will probably attend some of these events. You have a lot of fans all over the world that will come and see them. And by all this tourism coming in the United States, it will be able to boost the airline company, because airline company will also see a huge profit, because a lot of people will be traveling cities to cities, and most of these major cities such as Chicago, um, Washington, D.C., New York City, Los Angeles, Houston, Atlanta, all these major cities most likely will have a huge event that will be taking place. And it's very, very important for the government to be able to have control of those cities, especially when it comes to crime, because a lot of tourism will come to be able to boost some of the sectors such as hospitality. A lot of hotel company will see a huge profit. A lot of Airbnb, people who own Airbnb in those cities will be able to see a huge profit. A lot of vendors who sell things in the boutique, in the mall and things like that, they will see a huge profit. You will have a lot of people who are in grocery stores. A lot of retail company will also see a huge profit. So these events such as the FIFA World Cup in 2026, and also the World Cup, which will be hosted in Los Angeles, will also be something that will help out the economy in the future. So I think whether you like President Trump or not, I'm not here to defend him. I'm not here to justify his action. I'm just a person who's just trying to make sure everything, just trying to follow the news and just trying to see on both sides, to understand both sides of the angle. Um, I think he's doing this uh, order by sending in National Guard to be able to take control of the city. So when an event such as the FIFA World Cup come, which will be in 2026, which is just next year, and the Olympic, which will be in 2028 in Los Angeles, the city is safe. When the tourism come, with all the money, with all the resource, and all the things that they can provide for the economy, they will have a good experience. Because one thing that a lot of countries don't want to have is to have a reputation of crime or criminality, especially when it comes to tourism. When you look at countries such as Mexico, a lot of people are concerned or fearful of going to Mexico because they're concerned that the cartel would be able to probably kidnap them. When you go to like part of the Middle East, for example, a lot of people are fearful of that because they're concerned that there might be some kind of terrorist attack. So all these countries that are involved, that has all these criminal organization or criminal activities such as cartel, mafia, terrorism, they have a bad reputation. Like it kind of messed up their reputation in a way. So I think President Donald Trump is going into all these cities, especially democratically run cities, which they kind of lost control when it comes to criminal activities in their city. He's going in there trying to take control. So when this event comes, a lot of tourism will be able to have actually a lovely night, a lovely weekend, or a lovely time in the United States that they can, enjoy with their family and with the loved one, and enjoy the events such as FIFA World Cup and the Olympic. Let me know what you guys think in the comment. If you're new to my channel, please make sure you like, you share, you subscribe. Till next time.